Super Bowl 57 going down in our hometown in Phoenix, Arizona. Guess what? The winner of this game will have more home wins than the Arizona Cardinals did last year. What do you think about that? Oh, this
What
year.
is that real?
That is real. Let's get into this. What is up, guys? Welcome to the Edge DFS. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, what's up with you, man? Hey, we've reached the end of the season. Another successful year here with the Edge DFS. We appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for all the subscriptions and joining our Discord. Ellie, what's going on with you, man? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Got the baby home after a little bit of time in the hospital, so we're finally settling in. So it's nice to be able to get to do a show here. Hopefully, we're getting it in time to help our audience and hopefully new listeners or watchers, whatever you're doing. I guarantee you the audio is probably better. We're not the greatest people to look at, so we'll try and keep you entertained with cool pictures and shit. But for the most part, I'm just excited to get going, Don't you have some other ideas for XFL coming up here that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah,
that was a weird segue. Sorry, guys.
Hey, man, it's look, we got XFL coming up, sort of minor league-ish football, spring football. I'm pretty excited about it because Draftkings is going to be carrying contests, and it seems like the first week is going to be looking pretty good. There's going to be some decent-sized contests. So hopefully, it remains popular enough that they continue to roll out those big contests throughout, the springtime. And there's not a ton of teams to talk about, so we're going to be involved with that. So you guys can't get rid of us that easily. We're going to be involved with XFL. We're going to be involved with esports, DFS, and eventually, Ellie, you're going to be we'll probably do some NBA DFS, right?
Yeah, man, I'd like to get into some NBA DFS. To be honest, guys, hop in the Discord, comment on the show here. Let us know what you guys want to see from us. Typically, especially for those newer to the channel, we do Showdown some of the shows that we do specifically because there's not a bunch of other people doing it, and we want to help. More casual players learn how to play the game and get better at DFS as we go. So, let us know what you want to do. We're probably not going to do main slate for NBA because, as you can see, slate can change minute to minute. Yeah. But I'm excited, man.
All right. Well, look, I think we should start. There's probably a handful of people that are going to be, or quite a bit of people that are going to be playing this Showdown slate that typically aren't playing Showdown throughout the year. Maybe they're playing main slate, or maybe they're not even playing DFS, and this might be their first run at it. And look, even if you play Showdown all year, every once in a while it's nice to have a little recap as to like what these rules are and kind of some ideas about correlation, ownership, roster construction, things like that. So we're gonna spend like 2 minutes talking briefly about it, and then we'll get into the Showdown. We're not gonna spend a ton of time in this show actually talking about this game. Like, everybody in the world and a lot smarter people than us are breaking down the actual game. We're gonna talk a little bit about the game. You kind of have to, obviously, but we're gonna spend most of our time trying to talk more about actual building. So Ellie, what are your thoughts, just as a basic overview? Jalen Hurts is, like, just to start out, Jalen Hurts is going to be the highest owned player on the slate by far. Everybody in the world is going to be playing him or Patrick Mahomes probably at captain. We got a captain spot at 1.5x the points and 1.5x the price, which makes this format compared to like FanDuel a lot better in my opinion, and I think everybody's opinion. But what are your thoughts, and what do we need to focus on when it comes to actual roster construction, and what kind of contests are you targeting for this weekend on Sunday? Because there's the Millie Maker that has 470,000 entries. That's 150 max. Probably not a ton of people are going to be playing 150 lineups. It's probably going to be a handful of lineups that people are hand building and throwing them in there. So we got to talk about what to expect when you're doing something like that. So thoughts on these giant ass contests? How do we get different? And if you're playing Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes at captain, what the hell what are you going to do to get different? It's just a lottery ticket is basically all it is.
Yeah, so when you're looking at these massive contests, you need to be willing to play a lot differently than you would in some of the smaller contests. Now, personally, I'm not going to have any entries into the Millie Maker. It's just the contest is too large for my liking. Even if you do take it down, like you would essentially need a bullet to be able to take it down because max entering that. You're going to end up chopping it with maybe 30,000 other people. It's just something to be careful when we are doing a big contest. You need to start whittling down or making your player pool larger as you start getting into smaller contests with lower entries. Tyson, I think you're doing kind of a bigger single entry with how many entrants is it total?
Yeah, I'm doing the $200 single entry. I think it's like 488 total entries, and you're going against pros. You're going up against the top of the top probably, but they only have one lineup to enter. So
Right.
you're basically you kind of are on the same par as them. If you go up against these guys who are max entering 150 entry contests, most likely you're not going to be able to throw down the cash to put down 150 lineups in a $15 entry. It's just not realistic. And even if you do, you might not even break even with so many damn entries. You know what I mean? So I personally like the idea of going with one lineup that we'll probably build here today. Try to find that like sort of cash safe build with some high upside that's maybe not going to get duped. And when it comes to that, I'll still have my tournament lineups, but I'm going to do like the 25 cent, like 40K, the dime, the 10 cent
Right.
20 max. These are big contests. I think the dime is at like what 15 20,000 total prize pool. So I'd rather just throw those in there. Maybe I'll get lucky and maybe profit, but I'm focusing on like my one lineup build in this particular case. I don't know. That's just my strategy for this because it's just so giant. I don't even feel like dealing. I don't feel like playing like Blake Bell and some of these and Jody Fortson in the same lineup. Like I'm just not
Right.
interested in doing that stuff. Sorry, we kind of went off track here, but go ahead with what you were saying. My bad.
Yeah, and just real quick, right? Like if this is based on our bankroll, we're not going to be able to competitively play in the Millie Maker. If max entering the Millie Maker is 2% of your entire bankroll, good for you. First of all, that's awesome. And second, then play that way. Just remember, keep in mind you need to open up your player pool. And as we go through the show, we'll talk about some other key items. But the biggest thing you're going to hear if you're listening to other shows or as we approach the game is just ownership. We know who some of the top owned guys are. It's going to be Patty. It's going to be Jalen Hurts. It's going to be Travis Kelce. They're also the highest priced. You put all three of those guys into a lineup, you have a limited number of options. So that's where the lineups become predictable. And that's where you're going to want to maybe do something a little bit different. Maybe this is a game where you don't necessarily play Jalen Hurts and you start doing something, we might call negatively correlated, right? You're going to take Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, which is a positively correlated lineup, right? Every time Pat throws a touchdown to Kelce, they both get points for it. So you're doubling up on a score, and you don't necessarily have to guess right twice there. Now, on the other side, maybe we take the inverse of that logic. Pull out Jalen Hurts, grab Goddard, grab A.J. Brown, and maybe throw in Miles Sanders and, Boston Scott or, somebody else. You don't have Jalen Hurts. You're getting different by fading a guy who's going to be 65% owned, but you could capture all the offense still and just get there because Hurts didn't get his points per dollar.
Yeah.
But again, that was just a really like flash rundown of that. And we'll kind of show that as we get into the roster construction part of the show.
Yeah, and talking about like negatively correlated plays, like if you're playing, main slate, you're never going to play quarterback against the defense. You're never going to do certain things that there's just no reason to. You're never going to play a 4-string wide receiver. Shit, I'm playing Sky Moore. I'm playing Justin Watson. There's totally opportunities to dig a lot deeper. And in this case, you can play Jalen Hurts at captain, and maybe the way to get different is put Miles Sanders and Boston Scott in the flex. I mean, it's stupid. It sounds dumb. But how many times have we seen somebody solo ship, and you're like, how the hell did they build that lineup? There's no fucking way that they would be able to build that lineup. All right, let's move on. Let's actually get into this matchup here. We're going to look at the Vegas line here. So look, Philly's favored. They're technically the home team. That doesn't mean shit, but they're 1.5 point favorites. This is a 50.5 total, and look at that ownership. I mean, it's even across the board. Both of these teams are very, very evenly matched. You look at their records, you look at their numbers. There's a lot that about this game that this should be a very entertaining game. So what are you looking at here? I mean, KC at plus money here. I have to think that putting some money just on the money line for KC might be a decent option here. I don't know. What are your thoughts on here? Anything jumping out to you? And how are you thinking bets are going to go for you this Sunday?
So I'm just gonna keep riding with it. I'm gonna keep playing KC at plus money. That's that's kind of an odd line. Like I wouldn't expect to get plus money for Kansas City. But it is what it is. I do think Kansas City ends up winning this game. I think a lot of people are. Patrick Mahomes is a weirdly underrated quarterback, and people will say underrated. How is he underrated? Everybody has him as a top 2 quarterback, right? But he's underrated because you put names like Josh Allen next to him, Joe Burrow. Uh, None of those guys can be compared to Patrick Mahomes because he has a Super Bowl ring. He's been to this would be his 3rd Super Bowl. He's won an MVP.
Yeah.
Like this guy's already done it.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer right now. He's a Hall of Famer right now.
Right. If he were to retire before this game started, just said fuck this, I'm not playing. Chad Henne would still ball out first of all, but he would be a Hall of Famer. I really think that the Chiefs win this game. The Eagles have been on a great Cinderella run, and they're going to be a good team for a while. But I just think Kansas City wins this game. So I think everything's kind of in line with that. I think it's going to be pretty close. One thing I heard on the radio today, I wish I could remember so I could give the guy credit, but something like the last 38 games that Kansas City has played, it's been they've won or lost by 4 points or less. So just an interesting nugget to keep in mind.
Seriously?
Maybe that was the last 28 wins or something. I'll go back and find that out because it was an interesting stat. I'll update everybody in the Discord when I find it for real though.
Philly is the better team from top to bottom. I don't think there's any question about that. The deeper team, better on offensive line, better defense, from top to bottom. But you have Patrick Mahomes, and you have the best position player in Travis Kelce in this game. So I think that's the X factor, and I think the fact that they've made it this year without Tyreek Hill. There's still the number 1 offense in the league with dudes like Juju and MVS and Hardman and Tony. Some of these guys you've never even really heard of, and probably would not be starters on some of these other teams, to be honest. But because they're on this team, it really impacts how good they are. And I'm going to be super interested in some of these cheaper wide receivers for KC. All right. So let's look at the injuries here.
Yeah, just pain. It was pain everywhere.
So the reason why we waited until Wednesday night, which is when we're recording this, we waited until Wednesday night because I wanted to see where some of these injuries are coming in. There's no point in doing a show last week or even earlier in the week because we didn't know, what Kadarius Toney's status was, what Juju Smith, what even Isaiah Pacheco and McKinnon. We didn't really know what these guys' status are. We have a little bit better idea now. Looks like Kadarius Toney, the injury report was literally just released probably about an hour before we did the show, the official one for the Chiefs. And Toney was the only one who was limited in practice, but all of the guys have practice. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from both teams, you got all 53 dudes practicing, which is good. But if we look at the Chiefs side, to me, the only guy that worries me really is Kadarius Toney. First of all, I don't even want to get into it. I had to take a full week off from doing any content because I was just so freaking pissed off that Kadarius Toney basically scores the first touchdown of the game, drops it or whatever. He didn't secure the catch, and then the next drive he's out for the whole game. I had like 60% of him. I was super pissed about that. But hey, I'm going to go back to the well, and potentially. I want to see how he practices the rest of this week. But Kadarius Toney is the guy that you could pretty much say, like, I'm pretty confident he can get you 10 fantasy points without scoring a touchdown. Get you 3 or 4 receptions, things like that. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But Kadarius Toney, to me, is the biggest question mark. Mahomes is dealing with a high ankle sprain. Obviously, we know that. That clearly wasn't that big of a deal last week. McKinnon is dealing with some ankle issues. Pacheco, wrist. And Juju he was full practice, and I think he's going to be fine. All these guys say they're going to play. Kadarius Toney says he's going to play, but how good is he going to be? what jumps out to you here? Any thoughts on these KC position players? Anybody that worries you?
Uh, Not entirely. I mean, I was worried about Patrick Mahomes last game, but he looked fine. So I expect everybody to be good to go, and it's a Super Bowl, man. I if they're hurt and they can play, they're going to play. So nothing really to point out on either side of the ball either team on injuries.
And Justin Watson with a sickness will play. He'll be back, which is kind of a big deal because there's just not a lot of low end value that we can really trust. All right, let's get into this breakdown here. Break it down. All right, we're not going to spend a ton of time with the quarterbacks. Play these guys. I'm not interested really at all in fading or being under the field on either of these guys. The only guy that I'm going to not be above the field on is Jalen Hurts at captain. I might not play any Jalen Hurts at captain, and I might use my single entry. I might play him at captain in the single entry, or I might go Kelsey. I still got to think about that. But the biggest question here is, look, these guys are expensive. Jalen Hurts is 11.2K. Patrick Mahomes is 11K. I personally think you're probably going to need both of these guys at least in the flex. But that's expensive. It's going to be hard. Do you have any interest? If you're doing like a 20 max, you're probably going to want to get a handful of lineups with one quarterback, right? Obviously, you probably do a lot with both, but you're going to want to get some lineups with one guy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you just look at this like a decision tree. It's pretty simple. If you play both these guys, then you have to decide whether or not you're playing Kelsey. If you're playing Kelsey, then you're punting pretty much the rest of the way. If you want to play Travis Kelsey, then maybe you think about fading Patrick Mahomes, and that's how you get to Jalen Hurts, and then kind of build from there. But I think I'm leaning more towards you. I'm actually leaning towards being under the field on Jalen Hurts. He hasn't looked particularly great in the postseason so far. That's not really the reason. It's just I think there's leverage to be had by getting rid of him. I think Patrick Mahomes is probably throwing for 320 and 3 or 4 touchdowns. I think he dominates this game. And I think Jalen Hurts is one of those guys who, unless he gets a rushing touchdown, he could easily have a 12, 13 point performance that doesn't necessarily pay off his, ultimate price tag of 11-2.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I think I'll be more intent on playing him at captain, though, to kind of hedge my lack of exposure in the flex. But kind of we were talking about in the pre-show intro thing, that I'll probably run some naked Jalen Hurts, or like you were saying, run him with Miles Sanders or even Jake Elliott, and then stack up Kansas City the other way. So, yeah, man, you just got to make a decision here. If you're playing both these guys and you want to play Kelsey, then you're just stuck, and you'll see that when we get to the builds.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts is dealing with a little bit of a shoulder injury. So how effective is he going to be throwing the ball deep down the field? I don't know. I just don't. When it comes to Patrick Mahomes, he's 11K.
I'm here.
I don't know how much I'm going to get at him at captain with him. I'm kind of on the fence, but I personally think he's going to be 80 to 90% owned for me in the flex. I'm probably just going to almost lock him in, and I'm just betting on the fact that this guy's probably going to get you 20 fantasy points because I think KC is going to win this game. And how does KC win the game? Well, probably Patrick Mahomes is going to throw for 2 or 3 touchdowns, if that's the game script that I'm going after. All right, there's really not a whole lot to talk about with the quarterbacks. Like, play both of these guys. If you're on the fence, maybe don't play Jalen Hurts at captain as much, just because it's going to be so hard to get different with him at captain with 470,000 entries going against you. All right, running back. Let's start with KC. So, interestingly enough here, we've got Jerick McKinnon at 6,800. We've got Isaiah Pacheco at 7,200. And then look who's back. CEH, back in time to screw the slate up for everybody. He's only $1,000. I don't know exactly how they're going to use him. Andy Reid, he practiced. He doesn't have an injury designation. Andy Reid sort of was coy about it. He didn't really get into a whole lot of detail. But look, their run game, and Jerick McKinnon has not been as successful in the past few weeks as he was when he went on that 9-game straight with a touchdown streak. CEH was the guy back in the day. And look, he's going to be like less than 3% owned, and he's $1,000. You can't tell me that after watching this Chiefs team enough that you would be surprised if he did not get red zone opportunity and he didn't get a random touchdown in this game. I'm not saying to play a shitload of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but if I'm looking at certain props, like maybe anytime touchdown, hey, that's a good option for CEH. And as value, I think at $1,000, I think you can experiment with him in bigger contests. Pacheco has looked incredible. He's been the guy who's starting the game. He's been the guy even getting some pass catching opportunities. But Jerick McKinnon, I think, is the guy that's going to be the highest owned here, simply because if you look at his history. Obviously, he's not done well the past few games, but he's had a couple incredible games. What I might do with McKinnon is I might be, under the field a little bit in the flex, and maybe I get him in like 5% at captain, just in case if he has one of these 2 touchdown games. So what do we do with these guys? There's 3 dudes. None of them are high owned. And I guarantee you nobody's playing Pacheco and McKinnon together. Is there an option? Would you consider doing that?
Sorry, guys, that was my phone. Yeah, no, I think you guys, I think these guys are just in play, man. I think we were homers kind of playing McKinnon as long as we did, but you got to keep riding the touchdowns if they're coming. And I think we kind of walked away from the table early enough in the postseason to not have to worry about it. But if he's going to be low owned again, I'm taking a couple stabs on him. But look, I think the running game is going to be key here, especially if you need kind of middling priced guys, which we do. Maybe you don't play Travis Kelce. Maybe you play Isaiah Pacheco because instead of one touchdown or one red zone target in the end zone, it goes to Pacheco, right? And he ends up with a goal line carry and a touchdown. We've seen him get physical carries. But look, man, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think we have an interesting thing here. If he's really going to be under 5%, that probably means he's going to be like 1% at captain. And I don't know if anybody else is going to do this. I don't necessarily recommend it, but when we get there, we'll show that you can build within a captain and literally do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. Sometimes on a slate like this, having a punt captain and being able to get the raw points from literally everybody else is, it might be an effective cash strategy at the very least.
CEH $1,000. I mean, look, I'm interested in him in the flex. I don't know about captain. Maybe I'll do like one random, just a throwaway lineup. But I feel like if you're not going to play Patty Mahomes, maybe you consider putting in Isaiah Pacheco, because maybe Pacheco can steal a touchdown or 2 from Mahomes, who would typically throw the touchdown pass. Maybe that is an option for you. All right, so let's go to Philly. So this is a clusterfuck as usual, as Philly always is historically in the running backs. This is a running team, man. They run the ball a lot, and they're successful doing it. Miles Sanders is 7,800. Kenneth Gainwell, 5K. Boston Scott, 3K. Every one of these dudes can score a touchdown in this game. The reason why they're all going to be probably under 20% owned is Miles Sanders probably going to be 15 to 20% owned. Gainwell under 10%, Boston Scott under 5%. So every one of these dudes has a chance to score. We've seen it happen. We've seen all 3 of them score in the same game. The biggest problem is there's 4 dudes on this team that can run for touchdowns. Jalen Hurts and all 3 of these guys. So which guy is gonna get it? It's very hard to know. That's why they're so low owned. But I do think that playing Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts together, especially with Jalen Hurts at captain, could be still a high upside way of getting different. What do we do with these guys, man? Boston Scott is always tempting because he's priced low, but Kenneth Gainwell has been doing well enough that he's priced up in the 5K range. This dude used to be, under 3K for most of these showdown slates. And you could see he's done pretty decent. He's been utilized 12, 14 attempts. Now, some of these are deceiving because they were blowouts. Last week he had 14 rush attempts, because they were kicking ass. So what are your thoughts on these guys, man? Miles Sanders at 15% owned, the lead running back on a team that runs the ball a lot. So what do you think?
Yeah. Well, I got Miles Sanders right last week, right? I think I said he was going to have 2 rushing touchdowns, which he absolutely did. You should cue up that clip
Yeah,
and
right.
play it on the show. Anyways, no, man, I think Miles Sanders was the guy last week. I think he's going to get a decent amount of work. The Kansas City rush defense is not excellent. I like Miles Sanders, and again, 15% ownership. That's just too low owned on a slate like this, especially if you're playing in one of these massive contests. Man, you need to be above the field on guys like this because the amount of leverage that you're going to have is just insane if one of them scores. The same thing applies to Kenneth Gainwell. 5K, I think he's an interesting value. And I use value with air quotes because I'm not entirely sure what else we have at this point. And 5K is still kind of pricey, but I think he's fine. He could easily end up with a receiving or a rushing touchdown in this. And then I just our low my low owned touchdown would be Boston Scott. I think he scores. I think he has a touchdown. I think it's Boston Scott. It's Super Bowl Sunday.
I think that this running back position for both teams, there's a chance that not one player will be over 20% owned. And that is shocking to me. I mean, I understand it because there's 3 dudes on each team that you could see, or maybe 2 dudes on KC that you could see actually doing well, but who knows who's going to do well. You can flip a coin basically. But if I had to guess, Miles Sanders to me is a good captain option. Him scoring 2 touchdowns is not out of the question in a game like this. And that's kind of what you're looking at for these guys. Can they score 2 touchdowns? Can they get a couple receptions? Can he go over 100 yards? Absolutely. All right, let's go to wide receiver here. Let's start with Philadelphia. A.J. Brown's 9,200, Devontae Smith 8,600, and you got Quez Watkins at 1,400. So, A.J. Brown wasn't really utilized last week. Devontae Smith had a catch that wasn't a catch. There really wasn't a whole lot going on for these wide receivers, and there hasn't really been in the past few weeks. I think it's an opportunity to put a guy like A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith at captain. You're saving salary, and you still have that massive upside from both of these guys. Devontae Smith is 8,600. Look, a guy like Quez Watkins, if you pair, he's a big play dude. He's 1,400. You're probably looking for one big play opportunity out of him. And if he connects and it's a 50-yard touchdown, well, pairing him, like if you wanted to get different, put him in the flex along with Hurts at captain. That could be a decent way to kind of offset some of that ownership. So thoughts here, man. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, they're both going to be probably under 35% owned. That's incredibly interesting to me, and they're probably under 6, maybe around 6 or 7% in the captain.
Yeah, man. These are 2 of my favorite GPP captains, just in general. I'm going to be targeting the Chiefs just because I think they're going to win this game. So I think that results in more points. But one of these guys could easily end up with the optimal captain. At this point in the season, you can just play a soundbite about these guys. We know they both have 3 touchdown upside. We both know that they're fast to sell. We both know they can get consistently involved. I think my strategy here is probably just play one. I don't think you need to play both. I think Devontae Smith is probably the primary guy, right? As the games get bigger, I think Jalen Hurts is going to revert back to kind of that familiarity that he has with Devontae Smith. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure they played in the national championship together when he got benched for Tua. So
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Yeah, so just stuff to keep in mind. Quez Watkins, 1,400. Again, I don't even know if you need a reason to play him other than he's 1,400. He's probably going to be less than 5% owned. And again, right, punting at really anything under 1,400, 1,600 on a slate like this, being able to get that. Being able to move from maybe like Harrison Butker up to Dallas Goedert. Why do I always call him Daniel?
You always call him Daniel.
Up to Dallas. Yeah, fucking Daniel. Going from him to Dallas Goedert might be the difference between a touchdown as opposed to just a field goal. So those kind of things matter on Super Bowl. So play these guys. Zach Pascal, I don't hate either. He can get involved in the run game. He gets involved for his run blocking skills.
Yeah. Quez Watkins and Zach Pascal are both probably, as of now, we're seeing probably 10% plus or so around that for both of these guys. And to me, that's a little too high still because you got guys like Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell who are going to be probably lower owned than Quez Watkins. I get it. He's cheap and you need one big play out of him. I'm not saying I don't like him, but I'd rather go with Gainwell or Boston Scott. I think they're just going to have more opportunity because Quez Watkins is just not on the field as much as some of these other dudes. And we're going to talk about guys who are on the field quite a bit here and are relatively priced. MVS is the highest priced wide receiver on this team. And, you know, he had a good game last week. Absolutely. And he scored a touchdown the week before that. But you're looking at a guy who's incredibly inconsistent. And you know, if it wasn't for the fact that they lost all of their wide receivers last week, he probably wouldn't have gotten 8 targets. So we got to remember that, you know, besides Hardman, most of these guys are going to be back and they're going to be healthy enough to be on the field for a lot of the plays. So I think it's deceiving to have MVS at this price tag, and I think maybe he's going to be higher owned than he should be. So I'm just not super interested in MVS. That'll probably come back to bite me in the ass, of course. But I look, Juju Smith-Schuster, 5,600. He's the number one wide receiver on this team. Obviously, Kelsey's the number one guy target-wise. But Juju's going to be on the field a lot. And if he's fully healthy, he's probably going to be on the field quite a damn bit. He's $5,600. This could be his last game with them. His contract is up. You know, if you want to look into narratives, maybe this is his opportunity to make some huge money in the offseason, or maybe get re-signed if he can come out and play a big game. I built quite a few lineups with him at captain, and man, there's some incredible builds. Like, we're gonna build some lineups with him, and you're gonna see. Well, you can get a lot of good guys in there. And Juju, look, don't get me wrong, he's been incredibly disappointing. But he has the upside. You see a 22-point game. You see a 28-point game. Is it going to happen? Probably not. But because of his ownership and because of his price, I got to be interested in him in the flex and a captain. Kadarius Toney, 4,400, the bane of my existence. Of course, I'm going to play him because he's the kind of guy that can get you these little, basically an extension of the run game for this team. He probably is going to get at least 5 or 6 targets at minimum. I just don't know how healthy he's going to be. We're going to have to kind of wait and see. Sky Moore stepped up big with all those guys injured. He's 3,800. Typically, he's like the $600 range. So they priced him up quite a bit, but I'm still interested in him. Basically, you know, both of these guys are right around the kicker range. And kickers, I think, are going to be kind of popular in this game because there's just not going to be a lot of other options in that area. So maybe people just go to the kickers. And I'd rather play Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore quite a bit more because their ownership is going to be so low. Justin Watson's 2K. He's a big play guy. You're expecting one play deep down the field. Hopefully that's a touchdown. That's what you're banking on with him. He's probably not going to get 3 or 4 targets. He's probably going to get 1 or 2. He's probably not going to be targeted in the red zone. He's going to be targeted in the middle of the field most likely. So what are your thoughts on these guys, man? Are you as interested in Juju as I am, just simply because of the numbers, man? The ownership is there and the price is there.
No. So look, the way that I approach this is Pat Mahomes throwing the football, so I'll have interest in these guys. But when it comes to MVS and Juju, I think the easiest way, or the way that I'm going to approach this, is I'm probably going to have him at captain, if anything. And then if I kind of just land them on them naturally, then I'll have a couple stacks with them here and there. But I'm just not going to have much exposure to either. So I think we agree with MVS and just, disagree on Juju. But to your point, he will be on the field for 93+% of the snaps. I think MVS, I agree with your point about MVS being overpriced because of how much volume he got last week. But again, that had to do with all the injuries. Like, literally everybody was hurt. Yeah. They had Sky Moore and Justin Watson wasn't active for the game. So they literally didn't have anybody to play.
Literally, Marcus Kemp was playing.
Yeah, Marcus Kemp was out there. So, it's just something you got to keep in mind. And then I guess I'll agree with you a little bit more down here. Kadarius Toney, I love him at 4,400. I'll keep playing him. I don't care. Now's the time to I believe Andy Reid overstates injuries. I think that some of the stuff may have been precaution. They, they're where they need to be. Now they're going to unleash the beast. This is the last game. You're going to have all off season to get. So, I think you throw him in captain, 4,400. I think he's a great pivot off of some of the kickers. He's he's going to be one of my favorite plays. And then Sky Moore and Justin Watson. Sky Moore is obviously priced up, so I don't know if people are going to be willing to take that stab. But if especially if Justin Watson isn't active for the game, which I doubt he will be, or I doubt he'll be inactive, Sky Moore gets a boost. But he's a fun guy to take stabs on. Remember, he's fast as hell, and Patrick Mahomes can throw the ball out of the stadium. So that's all you're looking for from these guys. If he gets one touchdown, that's it. Same thing with Justin Watson. I will play him.
And with Mecole Hardman out, Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore obviously get a big boost. If Mecole Hardman was playing, I wouldn't be as interested in these guys. But with Sky Moore stepping up last week, maybe he gets a little bit more involved. He's clearly he's involved in the return game. I know they traded for Kadarius Toney earlier in the year to kind of relieve him of those duties because he had some issues. But if he's back returning punts and if he's on the field, I'm interested in him at 3,800. All right, tight ends, Travis Kelce, 10.6K. Hey, guess what? Play him. I personally don't see a situation where I'm going to not play him. It's going to be hard to build with him in every lineup. You're going to have to fade like lots of dudes. You're going to have to make bold choices. So it's going to be hard to like jam him into 80% of your lineups or whatever. But him at captain, he's going to be my number one owned captain by far. You get a little bit of a discount from the quarterbacks. That's $600 or that $400. That's going to be a big deal when you start to get into the last spot there. I'm obviously play Travis Kelce. I'd rather play Travis Kelce if I was forced to. I'd rather play Travis Kelce over Mahomes. That's just me personally, but I'm going to have a lot of them together. Noah Gray, 1,200. You could probably expect like one or two catches out of Noah Gray, and 1,200. I'm pretty interested in him because I think he's a threat in the red zone, like threat in quotation marks. Look, this pass defense for Philly is very good. Maybe this is a situation where they try to shut down Travis Kelce and make guys like Juju and Toney beat them. That would be a pretty damn good strategy. But hey, just because you're trying to shut somebody down doesn't mean you're going to be able to. Travis Kelce is probably a top 5 tight end of all time, maybe even better. And he's still in his prime. I see a 2-touchdown game at him, man. I'm putting him at captain. Jody Fortson at $200 is probably one of the only $200 guys or guys under 1,000 that I'm kind of interested in. Playing if this is a Millie Maker lineup, maybe I put a little bit of Jody Fortson in there. I don't know. So thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, man. Play Travis Kelce. I'm with you. He could easily see 2 touchdowns. He's probably mispriced. He should be damn near the same as Mahomes. But look, I think I may disagree with you slightly on the point about having more Kelce than Mahomes. I think this is Mahomes. I think this is Mahomes' game, right? Maybe I'm being a little extra about this shit, but Tom Brady's gone. It's literally his league now. So I think that he's gonna have. I think he's gonna have a rushing touchdown too, man. So, but yeah, look, I think you go Patrick Mahomes a little bit more than Travis Kelce, but again, it comes down to who are you fading? Are you fading Kelce? Are you fading Mahomes? Are you fading Jalen Hurts? I think I'm going to prioritize my Kelce Mahomes stack and then build other way on the Philly side. Yep. Noah Gray, 1,200. He's fine if he's active. Jody Fortson, again, $200. He's fine if he's active. If Mahomes is throwing them the football, they will be in my player pool.
All right, so Philly, Dallas Goedert, or Daniel Goedert, according to you, is 6,400. I think he's point per dollar wise one of the best plays on the slate. I like him for cash. At that price, I really do. And if you're going to pair a pass catcher with Mahomes, or I'm sorry, with Hurts, if you choose to put him in the flex as opposed to AJ Brown or Devontae Smith, your ceiling is not going to be as high. But I think that there's an opportunity in a one-game slate, one game that he can outscore those guys. 6,400, putting him a captain, putting him in the flex. He's probably going to be around 30% owned. I like to be around 50% with him just because of his price. I don't know. We'll see as we get closer and more injury news comes out. Jack Stoll and Grant Calculator, I'm not really super interested in them. I just don't think they get much run. Thoughts?
Yep, I agree. Love Dallas Goedert. I think he's a great captain option as well. Won't be touching these other 2 dudes.
All right, let's get to kickers and defense. So I think kickers, I mentioned it earlier, I think the kickers are going to be, both pretty relatively owned. just because of what we're dealing with here. There's not a ton of value that we're super interested in. For cash, I'm probably playing one of these guys. Don't know who yet. Harrison Butker can kick it out of the stadium. Jake Elliott is also really good. Thoughts on these guys? Do you have a preference one over the other? Like, how are you handling this?
Look, my strategy is going to be as simple as I'm going to be prioritizing the kicker that I think, for the winning team. Jesus, that was hard to say and it's supposed to be simpler. But I think the Chiefs are going to win, so I'll prioritize Butker a little bit more. If I think, if the lineup that I'm building, I think that the Eagles are going to win, I'll prioritize Jake Elliott. Team ahead is probably going to be more likely to take the points, but this is for all the marbles, if you will. So if you're gonna, both kickers are in play because both teams are going to take points when they can.
Yeah, I agree. Both coaches are, they're not afraid to go for it on fourth down. But in the Super Bowl, sometimes you just got to make a little bit safer decisions, and maybe we see more field goals in the first half if some of these teams stall out. Let's go and obviously the kicker I use if I'm hand building a lot of lineups, it's all going to depend on my roster construction. That's basically it. Defense: Eagles 3,600, Chiefs 3,400. What are your thoughts here, man? The pricing here is pretty good. They're trying to entice us to play them, and I think they're both going to be around 15% owned. And the odds that both of there's going to be lineups with both of these defenses are probably pretty low. So you got to think maybe between 25% of the lineups, if this is a shootout, are dead, right? I mean, could you get a decent amount of leverage by just unchecking these teams?
Yes. Yeah. And look, if you're entering a random bullet, the only reason you'd be playing these guys, playing defense, is if you think the game's going to finish 12-9. And even then, you probably need a defensive touchdown for that to work out for you. So, look, I'll be unchecking both defenses. I'm not going to waste any entries doing that.
All right, let's get into our captain option here, our favorite captain on DraftKings.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
We're crowning their ass. You're going Kelsey. I agree with you. I wanted to change it up a little bit just to give some other options here. I do think that A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are very good captain options in running like a 2-4, like, Hurts in the flex and A.J. Brown at captain and then running back with 4 Chiefs. I think that's going to be a pretty good option. Or, you can run 4-2s with A.J. Brown at captain. I think his upside's there. Both him and Devontae Smith. I think both of these guys are kind of. I kind of want to have both of these guys here, but I think that AJ Brown is going to be a little bit underlooked just because of his previous outputs. All right, let's get to our fade.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
Ellie, you're not interested in defense. I hear you on that, and I'm just not interested in tournaments, huge tournaments, playing Hurts at captain because I want Kelsey. And I want Mahomes in the flex, and you're gonna have to do some real crazy dumb bullshit if you're gonna get different enough to solo or at least minimum amount of dupes and be able to actually profit. All right, let's get into our lineup build here. Let me pull this up. All right, so we appreciate you guys. Throw us a subscribe. I know this is the end of the football season, but like we said in the opener, we got XFL coming up next week. We got some other sports we're going to be doing. Join that Discord. You can scan that down below, or if you're watching on your phone, you can just click in the description and click that free join button there. It's all free. We're all we're doing some other sports as well, so join that. So let me hit the button here, man. Hurts at captain. This is supposedly, on a Wednesday night, the optimal lineup here based on projections from Roto-Grinders. So Jalen Hurts captain, Noah Gray, Harrison Butker, Daniel Goddard, Kelsey, and Patrick Mahomes. It's funny because I built a lineup that was kind of similar to this without even looking at this. I was just hand building, and I wanted to do it in prep before we actually looked at this. This isn't terrible. Like, what do you think about this? Would you maybe switch out Butker, or like, what would you do here? Are you interested? Would you be interested in playing this in any sort of? I know that Noah Gray's in there, but what else are you gonna do? If you got Mahomes and Kelsey, you're gonna put 2 kickers in there. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, man, this is fine. I'd run it. Normally, I would run it. I don't know if I would on the Super Bowl slate, just because, um, this is the optimal. This is the lineup that'll be entered 25,000 times. So I don't know, man. We'll see. But it's a solid lineup either way. I think you probably just punt if you're going to play Noah Gray. May as well just go down to like a $200 guy if you can. If you find somebody you're comfortable with, and maybe come up off of Bucker from there, or even come up from Goddard. But
So what do you want to build a lineup with Hurts, like more of a like? I think this is a pretty decent starting point. Like if you're looking to play Hurts,
Yeah.
this is kind of like I like Dallas Goddard in this lineup because of his price. I think you can get to a kicker, you can get to Dallas Goddard, and then you just punt with Noah Gray and hope he gets you 3 catches or something random. Do you want to build our cash lineup that we're looking at?
yeah, let's build.
And I'm thinking Kelsey, man. I really am. That
You want
savings,
Kelsey?
that savings to me. What do you think? Do you want to go Mahomes at captain for cash?
No. Let's go Kelsey.
Okay.
I mean, I was fine with Hurts, but that lineup was probably what we were going to end up on anyway. So,
Probably pretty close. Pretty close.
yeah.
All right, so let's jam in. Let's jam in. Now this is let's remind people this is not. I'm not entering this in the Millie Maker. I'm not interested in entering this in the $1.20 max. This is for single entries, 50-50s, that kind of stuff, head to heads. And I still think that you can get different enough with Kelsey at captain. It's a little bit riskier, but I really do like what you're able to do in the flex. Where are we going now? So we got 11.9K left for 3 spots. Where are we going here?
I think you got to put in Butker, right?
Okay. Now,
Well, pull out Butker. Let's put in our Philly guy first. What happens? I mean, we pretty much, if we go
it's probably Goddard
Devontae
here.
Smith, yeah.
Can
you try Devontae Smith just to
Yeah.
see what it gives us?
We can absolutely try it.
So,
We're just fucked. It's 3,300.
Yeah.
So you got to punt twice. You can't even afford Sky Moore. You're basically putting you're putting Justin Watson and Quez, and you can't even get Quez Watkins.
right.
So you're going Justin Watson and Jody Fortson or something or something like that. And I'm not doing that. That's
Noah Gray and Justin Watson.
Yeah, and I'm not interested in doing that. So
Right.
I think you got to go probably Dallas Goddard. Now you maybe could do like Pacheco or McKinnon. Maybe you do McKinnon here. Let's try McKinnon.
Not for cash. Not for cash, man.
I mean PPR, man. He's gonna be. I don't know, dude. That's the hard part here. So I think my gut's telling me to go with Dallas Goddard.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, here I say we get a kicker and then you punt. Right.
Yeah.
So do we want Jake Elliott? Or since we're probably going to be punting with a Chiefs guy and you do a 3-3, or does it matter to you?
Sure. Let's throw in Elliott. He's more expensive.
1,300. So that gets us Noah Gray, CEH. It's rough, dude. It's definitely rough.
So if we go down to Butker, does that 200 doesn't give us anything?
I don't think
right?
so. I don't think it does. Let's put him in. Butker 1,500. I don't think that gets us anything really. We can get to Quez Watkins, but I mean, come on. I'm not playing Quez Watkins. I'd rather play CEH for cash.
So real quick, now that we built this, I would say we probably would want to stick with the Jalen Hurts for our cash lineup, right?
Yeah.
Because Travis Kelce, he obviously has the upside, but if you're going to be paying the same amount for the same lineup,
yes,
then I maybe run this in a bigger single entry, maybe one for $5. It's got 2,500 people.
Yeah,
but otherwise, just stick with the Hurts lineup. It's the same thing.
I think this is a decent starting point. Use your best judgment if you want to pull out Goddard and go somewhere else. But I feel like this is probably a pretty safe play. Comment down below if you think we're absolutely idiots, because I want to get other people's opinion on this, because this is kind of up in the air for me still. All right, now let's get into tournaments, because this is where we can get creative, and this is where we can have a little bit more fun. So with Travis Kelce, or do you want to do? Let's do a Jalen Hurts tournament lineup first.
Let's do it.
Let's do what we were talking about, dude. Let's do like Miles Sanders along with him, right? Do you want to do a 2-4 here? Or what do you want to do?
Yeah, well, let's see what we can do. Put in Pat and Travis and see what we're looking at.
Okay. Pat,
I'm here.
Travis,
Damn.
3,800.
I mean, all right. Hear me out. What happens if we put in Boston Scott? What do we like anybody 800 or less?
I like it, dude. I actually do like it.
Zach Pascal.
Pascal, it's a punt. I mean, you're going with Jack Stoll. You're going with Jody Fortson. That's kind of it. I mean, you can't quite get to CEH if you wanted to. It's ugly. It's ugly here.
All right. So since we're doing tournament, go ahead and pull out Kelsey and Boston Scott.
Okay, you're gonna have to make the decision with over Kelsey or Mahomes, most likely in these situations.
Let's go Juju.
Yes, I like that. Or you can go, Tony too, but we can deal with that in a second. 8,800 for two
Tony
spots.
Butker.
I like it. Tony Butker. All right. So we got a 2-4 here. Mahomes, Juju, Tony, and Butker. No Kelsey. You're just going to have to deal with that. I like it. If you got Hurts at captain in a big tournament, you pair him with Miles Sanders and no pass catchers, it's probably stupid. It's probably stupid, but if this game turns out where both of these guys are running the ball and you get a Miles Sanders touchdown and you get a rushing touchdown from Jalen Hurts, that could be really important. All right, what else?
Let's go 1-5. Let's put Hurts back in and let's go Pat Kelsey and then just see what we can do with whole Chiefs.
Okay, Pat, Kelsey.
Just throw in Noah Gray since we're okay with that punt since we're going 5.
Noah Gray, 10.4K.
Pacheco.
You like Pacheco? Okay. 3,200. You got to go down to Watson. But you could play Boston Scott. It'd be a 2-4. It's still pretty good. See, that's why, I mean, these Hurts lineups, I'm just not interested. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. What do you want to do here? You want to go Kelsey tournament?
Yeah, let's do Kelsey.
All right, Kelsey, Hurts, Mahomes. You want to try man. You want to try like Tony or something or Sky Moore here?
Yeah, let's do Sky Moore and then Butker and see where we're at.
4,100. Double kicker. No, you can't do double kicker.
Yeah, we don't even have enough for the double kicker. Go down to Justin Watson off Sky Moore.
All right. I will say this isn't fun so far. I will say that. 5,900. Juju.
Sure. This is a weird ass 5-1, but I'm fine.
Weird. It's so weird. I don't know, man.
Here, so let's do this. Pull out Hurts.
Okay.
Pull out Watson and Butker. Yeah. Let's go Sanders. Let's go AJ Brown. And then Boston Scott.
I like it. 3,100.
Go down from Brown to Devontae Smith.
Yep.
Damn it. We're still not going to have enough, are we?
3,700. Can't even get Sky Moore in there. You're looking at Eagles defense here. Or Chiefs defense. I'm telling you, man. Here, let me just hit the button with Kelsey at captain and see what happens. Hurts, Mahomes, AJ Brown, Quez Watkins, Noah Gray. You're punting twice. I don't know, man. I don't like it. Let's move on to another captain. Let's see if we can find one we like here. Let's go
AJ Brown.
Yeah, let's do it. So you're saving almost over 2K here at the captain spot, and that's going to make a huge difference. Let's put our holy trinity in. And okay, so we probably got to make a decision. Kelsey. We pull Kelsey out, maybe. Do we pull Mahomes out and maybe put Pacheco in or something like that? Maybe. 3,400. We're in the same exact spot. You want to pull one of these dudes out?
Yeah, I guess let's pull out Patrick on this one.
All right. Pacheco?
Yeah, let's go Pacheco.
All right. So a little bit more reasonable here. So we could go kicker. You could throw in Sky Moore. You could go. Where you want to go here? This is crazy.
Yeah, it still sucks. I
Goddard.
mean,
Goddard.
at this point, just go Goddard, and then what? Noah Gray?
Not quite.
No, not even.
Pascal. So I mean, realistically, yeah, you're fading Mahomes, but you're only punting once. Like this is a relatively decent lineup. Obviously, you don't have Mahomes, who's going to be the second highest owned player, so that's a little crazy. But you can throw in Pascal, you can throw in some of these other random dudes, but still don't like it.
What about this? All right, leave Brown in there. Go Miles Sanders, and then go Kelsey Mahomes.
Okay.
Let's fade. Maybe try it that way. I don't know if that's even going to save enough.
Kelsey Mahomes, 6,800. So we're in you could go. Wait, could you go Juju? No, you could go Juju and then a $1,200 dude, which we can do. Noah Gray.
Is that Noah Gray? That's not terrible, man. And then I mean, you can even come down from Juju, go to what happens if you go to Tony?
Or Tony, yeah. That buys us a little bit, but not quite. We're still a 2,400. I mean, Justin Watson. I actually feel more comfortable with that. So you got Mahomes, Kelsey, Tony, and Watson. Then you got A.J. Brown at captain with Miles Sanders. Now, it's scary to not have, obviously, it's scary to not have Jalen Hurts in this lineup. If A.J. Brown scores, 2 touchdowns or something, and you're going to need, basically, at A.J. Brown, you're going to need like 12 receptions at 100 yards or something, and maybe 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
And no rushing touchdowns or really nothing from Hurts. That's what you're banking on here. All right, let's go to Devontae Smith, dude. So he's cheaper. Maybe that can get us there. Devontae Smith, captain. All right, so let's go Hurts. Let's go the Trinity and see what happens. Mahomes, Kelsey, 4,300.
I mean, you can still go Boston Scott, Noah Gray. Still punting twice.
Twice.
A terrible punt.
All right, let's get rid of Kelsey here. Mahomes, Hurts with Devontae at the top. So now we can get a little bit. Now we can actually do stuff here. So we can go. If we wanted to do a 2-4, maybe we do Dallas Goedert. Maybe we could still get one of the running backs from Philadelphia. You want to go Miles Sanders here?
Yeah, let's go Miles Sanders.
Let's do a 4-2.
And then what? I kind of like Sky Moore here, to be honest with you.
Yeah, 3,800. But that doesn't get you anything. I mean, you're gonna have to go with like Quez Watkins here.
Well, what happens if we put in Justin Watson? What will that let us do for? Can we get a better Philly player?
5,100. Yeah, you can definitely get a better Philly player. You can get Kenneth Gainwell, but I don't know. Kenneth Gainwell. It's not bad. This is a relatively balanced lineup. You still got Justin Watson in there.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Let's go from Sanders to Dallas Goedert and see if that does anything for us. And obviously we had Mahomes and Justin Watson as our only 2 Chiefs players. I'm not too comfortable with that. Let's go Sky Moore now and see if that does anything for us. 4,700. So you can go either kicker. You can go Kadarius Toney here too.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
It's not bad. Or if you wanted to leave a little bit on the table, you can go Jake Elliott or Harrison Butker. Now we're starting to get into, you got to fade Kelsey though.
Right.
So you feel a little bit more comfortable, but I'm not that much more comfortable. So let's keep going down. Let's keep going down, man. This could be an opportunity where one of these middle price guys you're hoping with high upside, and you can get all the guys you want. Let's go to. Do you want to try Miles Sanders here?
Yeah, we can do a couple of Miles Sanders.
Let's do a Miles Sanders. Let's quickly do this. Hurts, Mahomes, Kelsey, right off the bat. Miles Sanders is going to be less than 5% owned the captain. You got 5,500 here. Still not looking great. We could go with a kicker. You know, you could go Butker.
And then you have to play Noah Gray.
And then you got to play Noah Gray. 1,200. Or you could, you know, can you get Pascal or Quez Watkins? You can go Quez Watkins. It's ugly, but you get Kelsey. You're only punting once, and Quez Watkins as the only punt. It's pretty decent. But Miles Sanders has to have 2 touchdowns in order for this to work, most likely. Let's keep going. Let's keep going down. You want to do a Pacheco?
Let's go. Yeah, let's do Pacheco, and then let's go to Goddard.
Okay. Pacheco, let's just throw in let's throw it in and see if that savings does anything for us here. Hurts, Mahomes, Kelsey, 6,400. Where do we go here? Tony and Justin Watson?
You can, yeah.
I don't hate that at all. I mean, you're going naked Hurts here, literally naked, nobody with him.
Yeah.
So probably dumb as hell, but we've seen crazier things happen. Let's try to fit. Let's take Tony and Watson out. Let's try to get another Eagle in here. I'm not having fun. I will say that. I mean, Goddard 6,400. You can't get him. Almost like you got to pull Kelsey or Mahomes out. In this case, let's pull Mahomes out.
Okay, pull out Mahomes, and then I mean, at that point, let's put in AJ Brown.
Yeah, agreed. Or Devontae, switch him out. So let's do a 2-4 with this one. So we got 8,200. You could do Goddard. You could do. I mean, you could absolutely punt. Probably not because there's only $400 left if you put Miles Sanders in here. But where do we want to go? Where do you think?
I mean, look, honestly, I wouldn't mind running Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell in this one.
Can we? We can.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, 1, 2, 3 running backs, and Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. This is a crazy ass lineup. But we get the studs that we want, which is nice. Let's keep going down. Let's go to Dallas Goedert. All right, Goddard, Hurts, Mahomes, Kelsey. Let's see if we can do anything with that. 7,600. This is looking a little bit better here. So we could do 3-3. We can do a 2-4, 4-2. I think we probably got to go in the Kadarius Toney Sky Moore range unless we want to go with the kicker. But I think we can do both. Yeah. Like kicker and.
Let's go.
Nope, not quite. Nope, not quite. We can't get a kicker if we go with either of those guys. But we don't have to have a kicker. Oh, what about this? Juju and Justin.
Yeah, that's fine.
Goddard, captain, Hurts in the flex, Mahomes, Kelsey, Juju, Watson. It's not bad. That might be like the first lineup that I'm like actually like, okay, you know, not bad. We got Hurts, Mahomes, and Kelsey. Now you can obviously do whatever you want here. If you wanted to really punt, you could probably go. Who else could you go? You could probably no, you can't do that. Wow, I'm trying to look for another Eagles player. I guess you could probably you could go. I mean, you could go Jake Elliott here. You could go kicker. Let's see what that would do for us. 3,600. You can't quite get Sky Moore. All right, let's keep going down. I want to get to Juju because these lineups were looking pretty nice. So Juju at captain, Hurts, Mahomes, Kelsey, 8,800. What was that lineup I built earlier? Hang on a second. Let me see if I can pull this up. 1 second. Where is he at? Got so many damn lineups. Oh, shit, that's why. Saved lineups. That's what I want. Where is it at? We've got Juju. Ah, okay. That's not bad. Let me hang on. I'm just making sure. Miles Sanders, AJ Brown. So you could do this. You could go Miles Sanders. And guess who that leaves you with? The guy we know is going to score a touchdown in this game. CH. So look. what do we do here, man? Like, how are you feeling about this? Because hand building is not something I'm going to be doing at all. Because I'm just not comfortable hand building in these lineups. They just don't make sense to me. I'd rather just set my rules and pray for the best, maybe.
All right, here. This is what I have for you. Let's unselect all these guys.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and put Clyde Edwards-Helaire in at captain.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at, guys. CH captain.
This is 5 points off the optimal. So I just want to point that out. This is more optimal than that last lineup we built.
Really?
Keep going.
Okay.
Then,
who's next? AJ Brown.
Go. Let's see. Who else did I have? Yeah, AJ Brown. I think.
6,500.
Was it
Goddard? Oh.
You want Devontae Smith? Put in Devontae Smith.
Can you get up? Yeah.
You want Pacheco? Put in Pacheco. Like I know it sucks, but man, like if you're running cash, like this isn't terrible for a cash build option, and if less than 5% owned, if he has one rushing touchdown, that is a solo.
You're crazy, bro. You're gonna make me do a single entry with CH a captain. I'm just burning money, just burning it. All right, man. So that was a little rougher than I thought. Building alone on my phone, watching TV, that was seemed a little bit easier. But now that we're under the lights here, it was not super fun. So what did we learn there, man? You're gonna have to make tough decisions. If you're going to play anybody above Juju at captain, price-wise, you're probably not gonna be able to play the three guys, the three big dogs, Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and Kelsey. You're probably just not. You're gonna have to choose to leave one of those guys out, which I think is fine. I think that's fine. I think try to get above the field with Kelsey, try to get above the field with some of these guys, and maybe make a couple decisions on some of these middle of the road guys and fade them. That might be your best option. I don't know. What are your thoughts, man? Talk to me, Goose.
Yeah, man. I think this is a slate where you might want to consider some balanced builds. It's pretty simple. Just look at it as a decision tree. You have three guys that everybody wants to play. If you play two, and then you decide to play that third, you saw how often we landed on Noah Gray, right?
Yeah.
And unless you want to play 80% Noah Gray, then you need to think outside your three choices there. So don't be afraid to fade people. If you want fade both quarterbacks, I doubt anyone will do that. So I don't burn your money, but be creative and don't tie with everybody. That does get annoying.
I still think that Travis Kelce / AJ Brown / Devontae Smith are my favorite captains, but you're just gonna have to not play Mahomes or Hurts in the flex,
Yep.
And that's it. I do think that this is gonna be the winning lineup is gonna be just something crazy. It's probably gonna be Hurts at captain and then some crazy dumb bullshit in the flex with like $5,000 left on the table or something weird like that. It's a lottery pick at that point. Anyways, what else we got to talk about here, man? This is our last football show of the season. Anything else to talk about?
No, I don't got anything, guys. Just join the Discord. Keep chopping it up with us. We'll still give help in NBA chat if that's what you guys need, whatever. So feel free to join and just let us know what you guys want to see from us. That's really kind of what we're looking at here. XFL is going to be the next big one. And then just kind of as an aside there, the thing to watch with the XFL is they may not have live scoring, like live statisticians providing updates on that. So it is possible that we may not be able to continue too long on that if we're not getting actual data. I'm too much of an asshole to do that. So just keep chopping it up with us, guys. If there's anything you want us to do, we'll start watching NASCAR. It's that simple.
Yeah, exactly. League of Legends, here we come. Look out for that XFL show probably Tuesday or midweek next week. And we appreciate you guys. Throw us a like on the way out. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time.